Alright, what's going on, everybody? The Insanely Epic Man here. God, I hate that name now. Wish I would have changed it. King of Freaks here, I guess. Welcome to the first edition of the Freak Show. Basically, I'm going to talk about random things that I get requested to talk about. First, let me get some things out of the way. I'm going to make a lot of references in this video that most of you will not understand. And I'm doing all these hand motions outside the camera for some reason. I don't know why it's not picking that up. Maybe because my zoom is not. Oh man, I'm playing with this as I go along. Alright, that works. No, stop. Alright, second thing I want to get out of the way. The actual King of Freaks character, some of you may know this, some may not, but the actual King of Freaks character that you see now started out as a character in a wrestling story. So, and he's still a gigantic part of that story. But the group that most of you, or all of you actually, are in now, came about from Lainey Walker, or Vandergrift. She's actually Vandergrift, but she calls herself Walker. Saying, asked me what the character was about, and at that time I really didn't know what he was about. And I told her that, and she goes, well, Freaks has a nice ring to it. Let's make a group out of it, basically. And here we are. So, during that time, I figured out what the King character was about. He's basically that part in all of us that's rebellious. He's the rebellious part of all of us. He's skeptical. He's, of other people. He uses phrases like trend kill, shackles of society, things like that. Your typical anarchist. But with my unique spin on it. I've got a fly on my keyboard. Okay. And yes, I am recording in my room. Change of scenery in my room. There's my certificate of baptism on the wall back there. Yes, I am Baptist. So I did get a request from Brad or Blue to do something on current politics, and let me get this correct. Here, let me look right here and see. I gotta pull up the group now because I closed it out for some reason. Hold on just a second. Un momento. That was horrible. Uno momento. I'm sorry if I offended anybody by mispronouncing. Let's see. So I brought this up. I've had this idea for a while to do a talk show about the whole Freaks thing, but it's just not come into fruition. Here we go. Current politics or the morality of America or etc. for a rant topic. He didn't have a question, he had a rant topic. And there's a fly in this room. And I've got my door shut so it's not going anywhere. And my hair looks horrible. I will run my fingers through it several times throughout this video. It's just what I do. So I don't know much about current politics. Last I heard, Romney versus Obama. I don't know much about Mitt Romney. I do know that Ron Paul fought to legalize weed, and that was about all I heard. The only reason I know that is our tech, my robotics teacher, took a poll, and the kids asked, who are these people? What do they run for? That kind of thing. And he said legalize weed, and every single hand, well, almost every single hand, went up in the air. Anyway, so let's talk about the morality in America right now, or how I see it. This is going to be hilarious. This is going to go on for an hour. morality of America right now, we're a capitalist system. For those of you who don't know what that means, that is supply and demand. A company has a supply of a certain product. The population demands it. They sell it. It's a dog eat dog world. You know, you get to where you get where you are by force. We're in a $1 trillion debt to China right now because we were too stupid to get our own money. And once again, swatting at the fly. I'm sorry. Um, our president is very controversial, or he was when he first got elected. I think things have kind of died down a little bit since then. What do I think of him? I don't really have anything to say about him. Um, when he first got elected and all the controversy was going, I actually read somewhere that the direction he was taking our country in was actually taught to him in school by his professor or whatever they call it where he went to school. Uh, and this was actually said by a classmate. I did it with both hands, but it's easier to do it like this. For those of you who don't know, I have cerebral palsy, and my left arm is extremely bent up because I'm too lazy to fix it. Uh, my legs are extremely weak, and I'm too lazy to fix that. And anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to the present. His classmate said that this was textbook socialism that he was leading us to. Now, I don't know about that, but I know that he definitely has or had a plan for the country. And I have to say, he's a lot smarter than Bush was. Bush was that guy who waved at Stevie Wonder. I'm not even kidding. He waved at Stevie Wonder. Just saying. Not very intelligent. Um, but Obama is, and um, Obama is actually a old Kenya word for Kennedy. So you know, but everybody focused on the middle name instead of the last name. Morality of America. Let's see. Well, socially, and that's basically what I deal in is social. You have the in crowd, and then you have people like um, me, and people like you watching. You have the ones who follow the in crowd, what the king or I like to call trend sharks. I don't know. It came right off the top of my head. Trend sharks. It's fine. Um, you see them around. Last week they had Eminem on their iPod. Now they have uh, who's popular right now? LMFAO. Okay. I don't know. I don't listen to mainstream music. I'm sorry. Um, I got a little bit of a nasal thing going on here. Always happens after I eat. Um, I'm at a loss for words now. Oops, hold on. I was going to do a Heath Ledger Joker impression, and actually, a lot of people are going to get mad at me for saying this, especially Laney, but I was going to do an Andy Kaufman special on the 16th for the anniversary of his death. Those of you who don't know who Andy Kaufman is, most of that, well, actually all of that, would have been explained. Andy Kaufman was big in the 80s. He was actually on the first episode of Saturday Night Live doing a lip sync of Mighty Mouse, where he would, I think it's actually on my channel, where I reenacted it, which was horrible, by the way. I'm sorry if you did see that. And I also have a joke by him on my channel. Once again, sorry if you did see that. I'm not a big fan of the work I do. I'm just not, especially my singing voice. I don't like it, but I do it. You know, I took choir class for 2 years, and you kind of get that little mentality where you're like, okay, I can hit that note. I've been trained to hit that note, and you do it. And I guess I'm tone deaf or something. I don't know. I will have to say I have to give big thanks to a guy called Michael Ryback on YouTube who does vocal covers and things like that. I actually covered one of his original songs, and he wrote and he said, "Look, you've got the pitch, the timing down, and all that, but this is far from enjoyable. Okay, you don't have enough power in your voice." So he sent me to some stuff I could look at, and a lot of you people really need to take a lesson from people like that, because he wasn't like, oh, you suck, you need to stop doing what you're doing. I didn't like how you hit this note or whatever, just something like that, with no way to fix it. They're not like, oh, you didn't hit this note right, here's how you can do it and it sounds fine. Uh, Most just say you suck, go die in a hole. um, but Michael was really cool about it, and he was like, I'm so honored that you would do our song. I didn't think anybody was interested in our song. And the actual writer of the song commented and said, sing louder, don't be afraid to wake the neighbors. So 5 minutes later, there was another cover of the song up that I did where I sang it louder, and Michael was like, "No, this isn't even close. You can't just hear the advice and then automatically do it." I'm getting off track here. I'm getting into my stories and things like that. I'm never gonna stop. Morality of America right now is, it's like Austin said, Austin Franklin or African in the group. He said that the people of America really need someone real that they can depend on. And he said, I told him that the king was just a character in a story, which he is. And he said, but people really need that. They need that hope. They need that person that says, hey, you can do this. You're awesome. Don't let, don't let anybody tell you differently. And I was like, I knew he was that kind of character. I knew he was that cult of personality that could inspire audiences like that, but I never thought it would transition into reality like it has. And I really have to thank you guys, you freaks, for it, because this has really given me confidence. I'm a person, I'm a guy that really lacks confidence. You may talk to me and not sense that at all, but I really lack confidence and self-esteem. Excuse me. So much to the point where when I put these vocal covers up on YouTube, or I talk on YouTube like I am now, I don't go back and watch it because I hate to hear myself talk. I hate to hear myself sing. I don't like hearing myself. Um, Unless, I've got something in my ears, like if I've got the music going and I've got it to where I'm pushing it in, whatever, and I can, kind of hear myself, that's okay. But when I'm the only voice that I can hear, that that won't fly, Jack. You know what I'm saying? Um, Let's see here. We've gone for 15 minutes. Uh, the original idea for this show, and it's not really a show, it's just me rambling on about whatever I feel like, was I was gonna start out. I was gonna have some sort of music playing, or something like that, and I would do a speech. Hi, how are you?
Fine. I'm all writing this now down and get some tomatoes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, and that's a day in the life. As I've said, I'm sitting back here in my room with the doors shut, and I'm at the back of the house. Everybody else, well, not everybody else. My grandmother is in the front of the house, and we have this neighbor across the street. He's very elderly. Anyway, they hang out most every day, and she'll like bring us desserts and things like that. And screensaver. And I get the phone duty when they're out of the house, or when she's out of the house. I live with my grandmother. For those of you who don't know, most of you don't know. I was a teenage pregnancy, and at 10 months old, my grandmother got custody of me from my dad, who got it from my mother because my stepdad was verbally abusive, not to me, but to my mother. Well, in my mind, he was verbally abusive to me, but that was just the way I perceived him. But he was verbally abusive to my mother. And I've lived with my grandmother, like I said, since I was 10 months old. I'm now 16 years old. And I have great relations with my father, who I take after, obviously. And I have great relations with my sister, who came from that stepdad, and she resents him with every fiber for being. This is basically turned into an autobiography, which a lot of people said I should write, but my life's not over yet, so what's the point? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what the King's for, is to uh, bring myself into my writing. That's like when I wrote the case that should not be. Some of you read it, some of you haven't. It's actually supposed to be. So sorry, I hate my nose right now. Oh, that didn't help at all. I'm sorry. Um, some of you read it, some of you hadn't. I'll put a link. I probably won't, but the case that should not be is about a retired detective played by me. Nobody can play roles like I can. Just saying. Uh, who his fiance gets murdered by the mafia, and he goes into this deep spiraling depression. And then 2 years after, which is where we pick up the story, or where the story starts, he gets a visit from uh, this girl who reminds him of his fiance in her personality and things like that. And whatever. Sorry. And she says that she's a friend of Lucy's. Yeah, that's the name of the woman. Sorry, Lucy is the name of the fiance who was murdered. And she basically says this case is not closed. There's more evidence that you don't know about. Now, when I wrote it, all this seemed to make sense, but once we got finished with it, I was starting to get a little skeptical. I was like, and I'm gonna spoil it for you if you haven't read it. You're about to hear the ending right now. So we go and investigate, this case, with no help from the chief, the police, the head over the homicide desk. We go and we investigate. We talk to the murderer. We talk to his family, his mafia family, uh, and come to find out that nothing has changed in the case except that Lucy's not dead. Uh, Lucy is this friend that gives Tony the case. Now, I wrote this, I don't know, middle of the summer. No. It was, yeah, no, middle of the summer, end of the summer, close to there. And I wrote it about a personal experience that I had. And I'm getting this out in the open. It's time I talk about it. I've actually talked about it a lot, but I've talked face to face with you, with some of you. Some of you were there weathering the storm with me. I wrote it about the spiraling depression that I went through during April of last year to November of that year. Not, yeah, of that year. I met this girl on the internet. Still a really good friend of mine. A friend of some of you people in the group. Uh, and we started a relationship for 2 years, starting in 2009, I believe. And it got to the point where I'm not going to speak about the actual details, but her mother found out and called the law on me to the extent where a police officer came to my school, pulled me out of lunch, and said, "We need to talk to you about this girl. Is this your Facebook name? Do you remember receiving this? What?" And I got through that. I was scared to death, not for me, but for her. I got home, and her district over in Illinois, Illinois, called me and were asking questions about how much I knew about her, which I knew a lot by that time. That was in April, and it's now May of 2012. No contact whatsoever. I would like to mention, though, that I don't know if this is Yahoo's fault or what it is, but I did receive a a buddy request from this girl not too long ago, maybe 4, 5 weeks ago. I don't know. It's not that long. And I wrote and I explained everything that was going on, which a lot was going on at that time, uh, to the point where I thought I had found somebody new. Somebody new. Like it's a car or something. I bought something new. Which that turned out to be a dud, but that was my fault. A little misconception there. Where do I move on from here? Anyway, let's never bring that up again. Wow, I've got a lot of skeletons in my closet now that I think about it. I don't remember half my childhood. I watched my cousin go through domestic violence disputes and be in a drug family. He wasn't doing the drugs, of course, but because he was 4. But I'm watching, and I'm the group psychiatrist for some reason. And I don't mind that because I kind of like hearing about people's problems. Like, and I've gone for almost half an hour now. Like, you know, they bring their problems to me, and I think that's awesome. I think that's what I'm going for, actually, with this King character. By the way, this King character is named after me. It's got my name, it's got my face, it's got all that. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. I referred to him as King because we're kind of two different people, but at the same time we're the same person. If you've ever heard of Mick Foley from WWE, he had like four different guys in his head. It was like Mankind, Dude Love, Cactus Jack, and then he played himself. Um, and he's an amazing person. I actually met him, and he's pretty cool. Anyway, there's so many people I could go on about, but let's talk about music. No, that'll go on for an hour. Yeah, wait a minute. Let's talk about music while we're on the subject of trends and things like that. I talked about trends earlier on. Um, by the way, in case we're not clear here, here's what you're getting yourself into when you join the group. You're getting yourself into something that Austin believes is going to be gigantic one of these days. Like I said, you meet all these people from around the world. You've got I know Aaron is from, I don't want to get this wrong, New Zealand, I believe, or Australia. No, no, another person's from Australia. I'm sorry, I can't remember where everybody's from. You've got people from Alabama, like I am. You've got people, you know, like Dom is from Alabama. He's further south than I am. I'm basically at the tip top of Alabama, closer to Tennessee. We've got people from Arkansas. We've got people from Texas. We've got people from Tennessee. Uh, anyway, you meet all these people, and you're either a classmate that thought, "Hey, freaks, that sounds pretty cool. You know, I'd like to be a freak." You know, a close personal friend, which could fall into the order of classmate. It could be somebody I met online, which that happens a lot, uh, which have become as good of friends as you can be. You know who you are. I don't have to name you or anything. I don't want to name you. Or you were fought. Oh my God, the phone rings. Of course it rings while I'm going on for half an hour. Let me answer this. Day in the life here. Hello? Hey, not much. Kicking back, kicking back, you know. Yeah, it is, isn't it? She went to go ride with Miss Nell somewhere. All right. Love you too. All right. Bye. And that, my freaks, is a sign that the video has gone on too long. We've had two interruptions in half an hour. Now, I can go for 6 hours and not have anybody say a word to me except, do you want something to eat? But when I actually try and do something important, why does my third finger do that? I just noticed that. These are not the droids you're looking for. Sorry. I'm just a dog chasing cars, okay? I don't want. I don't know what to do with one if I had one. Little Heath Ledger there for you. I was talking about the Joker earlier, I believe. I don't know if I was or not, but I was thinking about talking about the Joker. I was talking about the Joker. I was talking to somebody about how great of a job the late great Heath Ledger did. Um, and by the way, those tongue mannerisms that he would do in The Dark Knight were actually his mannerisms. Saw him on Letterman, and every time he would talk, he would go. Anyway, getting off track, the phone call and stopped me there. I'm just a dog chasing cars. Why so serious? Shit. Where was I? Forgot where I was. Oh yeah. So you meet all these people, and some of them believe in the cause, know what the king is about, which I guess all of you do by now. Uh, I really should split this up into parts, but for those of you who don't know, I record straight from my webcam now to YouTube. So once I hit stop here, it's gonna, upload it right up to YouTube. And that keeps my audio and video in sync for some reason. I am using a netbook webcam that's built in. So, and I've always used it. I actually did buy a PlayStation Move and I used that camera for a little bit, but it didn't work as well. That's when you saw my chest all throughout the video because I couldn't find anywhere to set it. So I set it on some tissue boxes. That didn't work out too well. By the way, about the vocal covers, there's probably not going to be any more. I've actually got one more lined up, and I may just tell them to forget it, because we were riding back from a competition, and you have to understand, I'm a singer, whether I like to admit it or not, whether I listen to myself or not, I'm a singer. And I sat with this girl. It's not the same girl, and it's not the one I've been talking about, but she was on the trip. And we sat. We didn't get home till like midnight that night driving back because we got lost. Funny story. It's not funny to the other people involved, but it was funny to me. It was hilarious to me. Our teachers, excuse me, I don't want to get our teacher involved because he's an awesome guy. But our actual guide, decided to go shopping. Okay. Anyway, didn't get home till midnight. Really puts a damper on things. Anyway, we sang I'm looking at the mirror and then I'm looking at the camera. We sang the entire time, and she's louder than I am when I sing. So I'm sitting there going, is she bugging other people with how loud she is? And I let it slip that I do videos on YouTube where I sing. And she must have latched onto that phrase or something to that effect. And she comes up to me the next day, the Monday actually. Or no, we got there Wednesday. We stayed until Saturday, which was our actual competition. Very nice. We stayed about 2 blocks from one of the most famous stadiums in college history. Well, not most famous, but we stayed about 2 blocks away from Jordan Hare Stadium. I don't know if any of you have been down these parts, but we don't mate with our cousins. Well, some of us do, but it's very rare to find us mating with cousins. They usually get like extra toes or something. We usually mark them. Oh, that was mean. By the way, speaking of that kind of thing, I'm doing, well, never mind, because none of you are going to make the 15-hour drive to get down here. But, I forgot where I was going. Anyway, I was talking about the bus ride, right? Yeah, okay. I really should write a script for this thing, because this is right off the top of my head. We sang the entire time. And I don't know if you know the song Kill Switch Engage. Excuse me. The song by Kill Switch Engage, My Curse. But I decided that we were going to sing that because it seemed fitting at the time going through what I was going through at that time. I had just recovered from all that. I'm like, let's dedicate something. We were going to do it for Valentine's Day. Then we were going to do it, a few weeks after Uh, it's kind of weird. She wanted to bring her boyfriend because her boyfriend's overprotective or something like that. Kind of weird about he's kind of weird about her coming over. So I said, let's do it over the summer, and just let's just do it over the summer. And I still haven't learned the proper way to do it because Killswitch Engage is a very hard band to emulate. Any harlot. I have weird phrases too. Like I'll swear, but at the same time I'll say things like any harlot or what do I say? Skiddly doo or it's a compliment, or something to that effect. What do I always say? What's my catchphrase? Woo! And I did it on camera. Don't bug me about it, okay? Uh, Funny story behind that catchphrase. It seems like something Ric Flair would say, and it used to be what Ric Flair would say. We were sitting at lunch. Laney Walker. Well, her stepdad's a Walker, so I guess that's why she calls herself Walker. But I never called myself Bono. I'm just saying. Uh, Remember that. And we're sitting at lunch with Laney and a friend of ours who was in the group for all of about 5 seconds. Uh, and we had a banana that day. But I don't know if you know this, but bananas are extremely difficult to peel. With my hands like they are, uh, my hands are very firm. Don't worry about it. Just very hard to. It's lunchroom quality bananas, okay? Those are hard to peel. Alright, just saying. So I peel it off, with difficulty. I'm ripping it to shreds and all that. And when I pull it, it spins. It does a little twirl thing. So I see it as like, all right, those little party machines where you spin it and it makes that sound. That weird sound I'm talking about. So I go, woo! That catches on. The freaks don't catch on at school, but this particular phrase catches on. C'est la vie, huh? That's life. Um, so that's like a running gag with us right now. It was so funny. I love how the guy does it. He came up one day. He was really mad about something. I think the school system, messed up his credits or something like that. And he had a banana. They were giving bananas that day. Holds up the banana after ranting, for good, 5 minutes. We don't have that long for lunch. Good 5 minutes. And he goes, I'm going to use the phone as a banana. Woo. And he just pulls this face like, eh. Okay. So I think I've gone on long enough here. This is almost 40 minutes of me talking about nothing. Let's recap though. The King of Freaks is a rebellious, almost skeptical guy that's basically, he's like, you can do this, F the police, F everybody that says, why am I censoring myself? Don't listen to what all the naysayers have to say. And that's a very uplifting message. And the morality of America is that we need to get our shit together. There, I swore. We need to get our shit together. Because we don't know how to feel about our president right now. We all hate our president for some reason. We have trillions of dollars of debt. By the way, don't blame the government for everything. The government is just a blanket in a scapegoat. I'm sorry, a scapegoat for your own problems. It's not the government's fault that you don't have any friends. It's not the government's fault that um, that we don't know how to treat presidents. Okay, like Clinton. Let's talk about Clinton for a second. I understand that he lied in court. You have to understand he was married, or he is married. I'm not sure if he's still married or not. He was married. Who wouldn't lie about something like that? Anyway, that's my view on Clinton. I'm not gonna do an impression. I don't do impressions. There are few people I do impressions of. I do Heath Ledger terribly. I do Laika terribly. I can do a British person terribly. I think you're getting the point here. Morality of society. The morality of America. Society itself needs to. Uh, let me give you an example here. I see these posts on Facebook that say, um, the kid you called fat has diabetes or something like that. The kid you tripped walking down the hall gets abused every day. The girl you called ugly has some sort of facial disorder. Yeah, point out their insecurities, why don't you? No, what you need to do is instead of telling people not to bully them, why don't you show some compassion personally instead of putting it on Facebook? That's the thing I hate, man. People put their problems on Facebook and something vague like, I can't believe he did that, or I can't believe she did that. And then somebody asks what's wrong or what happened, and they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Why'd you put it on Facebook? I don't understand. I don't understand. If you want to air your dirty laundry out on Facebook, at least air it all out. You see what I'm saying? Um, I think I'll leave you with a joke uh, to wrap up this freak show. And it's a little religious, so I'm sorry. And it was actually featured in a movie. So, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ walks into a hotel. He hands the innkeeper 3 nails, and he says, "Can you put me up for the night?" I'm gonna give you a second to process that, and I will see you next time. This has been the Freak Show. I'm the King of Freaks. Well, technically, I'm the Insanely Epic Man, but more importantly, I'm the King of Freaks, and I wish I could change my channel name. Thank you. Goodbye. Stay